Hi folks, welcome back to Out of Spec Reviews, and welcome to another video with Scott and her lovely Rivian. Rhonda? Is that what you named it?
Yeah.
This is my first time seeing Rhonda in person because
Yes.
I've had so much travel. You've been gone. Rhonda's been in service, which is the impetus for this video. We had some issues with, well, you had some issues with it when y'all picked it up and still loved it.
Yeah.
But had some issues.
Some pretty serious issues.
Those issues have pretty much been resolved, but there was a whole process, a whole list of things. I thought we'd go through all of that with you and also show you just how sick this thing looks like, blacked out now that it's gotten some tint.
Yeah, it looks
Nicely
really good.
done. Let's get into it.
Thank you.
I'd like to say a huge thank you to the C-Can Action Fund for sponsoring this video. Guys, we've worked with them over the last couple of years, and for the last couple of years, Out of Spec viewers have won amazing electric cars through this program. It's why I love working with them so much. And the electric giveaway this year is absolutely insane and bigger than ever. So all you have to do is visit the link in the description below and enter for your chance to win. There's only 10,000 tickets available. They're each $200, and each ticket gives you 3 chances of winning a prize, an electric car. And for the first place prize, you can choose between a Taycan or Macan EV, or a Lucid Air or Gravity, or a Rivian, just an insane first place prize. But there's also a second chance, like I mentioned, which you could win a Volkswagen ID Buzz or Hyundai Ioniq 5. And for the first time ever on one of these, there's a third place opportunity, which would be a Chevy Equinox EV. So again, if you want to help an amazing organization fight for a cleaner environment and enter for your chance to win an electric car to drive every day, well, there's no better program than this particular one. So visit the link in the description below, buy some tickets, and I want to say a huge thank you to the C-Can Action Fund for sponsoring this video.
Okay, Scott, welcome back. We've got your Rivian pulled nicely next to a Cybertruck. Oh, no. This thing looks really good. Like I said, my first time seeing it. Huge fan of the R1S. Huge fan of the R1S. Facelift, updates with, you know, the new lighting signature, all the lighting stuff. We've done some content with this already. Colton did a build quality analysis with Kyle, kind of looking at some where they succeeded and excelled and also where they had some issues.
Yep.
And I think what was interesting is, you know, we picked this up in the factory. Rivian clearly went through it. But maybe
yeah, it had 39 miles on it, so they definitely went through it. But
yeah, but I don't know if it was like the finest tooth comb or the comb was missing some teeth. I don't really know the metaphor there. But yeah, let's talk through, I think, a list of things that were kind of issues and then how that service went. But I guess we should back up and be like, how did the service appointment go? Scheduling it? Like, what was that process?
Yeah, so I went into the app and I went ahead and scheduled it. And I did that like right around my birthday, so like mid-May. And they were not going to be able to get to my car, I believe, for 6 weeks. I want to say it was June 23rd was the date. And that was really disappointing because, you know, there were some minor issues that were just kind of quality of life things, but it was pretty scary to drive on the highway.
Yeah.
And that needed to be resolved as soon as possible.
Yeah, it seemed like some suspension maybe issues, and we haven't always given Rivian the best praise with the R1S's suspension handling on the highway, but they did improve it with Gen 2.
Yeah.
But then you having a Gen 2 having issues was like, oh, this isn't a great look.
It was pretty scary, but they did fix a couple of things with that, and it's much safer now.
Right. So what did they do exactly?
Okay, should I first go through the list of what was wrong?
Well, sorry, you said it was 6 weeks, but like it was actually shorter.
Yeah, so a member of our team did speak with somebody at Rivian and they got to it very quickly. They hounded me because I don't check the app that often. And I was so excited, so they did get it in immediately.
Right.
And they were very communicative. I knew that they were gonna fix it. I said that from the beginning when we got the car. Their team's awesome, so I knew it was gonna be fixed, but when I did not know.
And you took it over to Rivian here in Denver, is that right? Okay. And they just had the people there and handled it all?
They had the whole rundown. We gave them very specific issues and they ran through what they thought they were going to do. And then when I picked it up, they went through everything that they did do. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now we can go onto the list.
Okay. Onto the list of what was wrong.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I think the biggest issue was it was kind of like fishtailing and very nervous on the highway. So I would be in like that lane keep and I go to lightly tug on the steering wheel to get it out and the whole car would swing you side to side. Because I am going to be using this for hauling my horses, that was pretty scary. Let's see what else. There were door rattles, of course, on the door handles and also on the interior. So anytime I was playing music, even at a low volume, there was a lot of rattling. The steering wheel stitching was, I don't know, it looked like a kindergartner did it. There was a squishy spot there. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, my automatic wipers did not work. So we did drive back from the factory with pretty bad rainstorm most of the time.
Yep.
And I was constantly flipping it off and on.
Old school, nice.
Yeah, but you have to like bump it up a lot when it's downpouring and then you come through. So it was constantly kind of
playing with it. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so that is what was wrong.
Right.
And here's what they did.
Okay.
To address the suspension issues, are they suspension issues? Is that what we call it?
It's basically suspension. It could be geometry, kinematic. I don't really know exactly what the issue was.
Okay. So they realigned the rear toe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You probably know more about that.
Alignment would cause some of the issue you were talking about. And I think the steering wheel's a little crooked.
Oh, and the car was out of alignment. I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
So that could have been part of all of that. Yeah.
Part of it, yes. And then they also replaced both front struts.
Okay.
I know nothing about that, but I know that they did that. Sounds like it worked.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. They installed a new upper B-pillar trim.
Okay.
What is that?
So the trim, so there was some issues with like rattles and stuff. Like seeing the build quality review was pretty interesting with Kyle and Colton. There's an hour and 22 minutes or so of them going through this with their fine-tooth comb, and they felt like there were some rattles. I think this is the B-pillar here, so there were some rattles in there. They also mentioned the rattles in the door and the handle, which it does seem is pretty nice now. I like how you called this dirty. This is like
filthy.
Cleaner than the cleanest I've ever seen any of Kyle's cars.
Okay, well, I'm not Kyle.
Okay.
Actually, let's step inside because I'm going to show you something else that they fixed.
Okay. I really like this Ocean Coast interior. This is absolutely the way to go, I think.
Isn't it so pretty? Wow. Okay, so like I said, the steering wheel, the stitching was very, very sketchy, and there was a big squishy spot right here.
Right.
As you can see, that's not the case because they gave me a new steering wheel.
Very nice. Yeah, looks good.
Much better. Good. I will say it is parked right now. It is still out of alignment.
Even though the steering wheel's a little crooked?
No, the car is still out of alignment. The steering wheel and the car both out of alignment still. So not awesome.
Okay.
And actually, that brings me to our next thing. They did a wheel alignment.
Okay.
But when when you drive, it's a little this way.
Okay. So still needs a little bit of... I'm convinced it's just impossible to get straight steering wheels. My car is crooked. My other car is crooked. Half of Kyle's cars are crooked. I don't know.
I'm looking at the Mazda and she is as straight as she can be. I've never had an issue there. Okay, let's go ahead. They went through with noise, vibration, and harshness improvements. So there was a pretty bad rattle here on this chrome piece. So bad, in fact, that when I was driving, I would hold it because it drove me nuts, and it was like zzz. So they did that.
Let me close my door here. Oh,
yeah. That
door thunk's pretty good.
Good or bad? For
a Gen 2, it's pretty good.
But yeah, they oiled it all up. It was
tighten down the hatches. Yeah, all the So NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness.
Yes,
that's what we call that.
Which means that they addressed those three items. That included resecuring the small rubber stoppers in the door handles.
Okay.
So those were flying out when my handles were up. And I had to like chase them around the parking lot.
Okay.
Let's see what else. It resolved the squeaks in the door handles and everything there. Now, let's move on to the auto wipers.
Okay.
It just wasn't turned on. I mean, it was turned on here. Like I had it where it said like auto medium or auto high. But there's some setting that comes from the factory where it's not turned on.
Wait, so the software said it was on, but the actual setting wasn't?
I think opposite. I think this, wait, I don't know, you tell me.
I don't know.
This right now says that it's on auto high.
Yeah.
And that was true. We kept doing that.
Yep.
But
but there's a different setting?
Yeah, they didn't show me, so I don't know how to get there.
Okay, so I guess the feature itself in the software, somewhere possibly in service mode, wasn't turned on, which I wouldn't really blame you in this. Like, you made it, the email almost made it sound like operator error. You were doing it there, which should override it, or if the setting's not turned on,
it should be available there.
The screen should inform you of that.
Yes.
So there's a misconnect. Like I'm gonna say, Rivian software is almost second to none. It's fantastic, but there are little things every so often where I'm like, this should be a thing. How do I find it? It is buried somewhere.
But it's so busy.
Yeah, but it's also, I don't know. I already did a video on Rivian software. Maybe to do another video after I spend more time with Gen 2 specifically and just figure out how I feel about it. But importantly, it works now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It does work now, thankfully.
Great. Bottom line. What's next?
Okay. The brake was squishy.
That's right.
And it had some air in it.
The pedal had to go to the floor. And so there was air, so they purged the air.
Yes.
Okay.
They completed a comprehensive inspection and found no issues. My brakes are operating as they should, but I'm pretty sure they told me that they took the air out, so.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. Sure.
Brake solved.
I think that's it for everything that they did. I'm trying to look around. Yeah, there was nothing else.
Yeah, were there any, it sounds like the doors were pretty much aligned. Like sometimes we've had Teslas delivered with like misaligned doors. I think Colton's had some issues with that, but it seems like Rivian really, they went through the shut lines with a fine tooth comb. I don't know if your hood was perfectly done. My
hood was good. It was a little, it wobbles on the highway.
Okay, yeah. A lot of them.
I think that can be fixed, but it's distracting.
Okay.
Let me think about what else. I think what they did, if I had been I am an average consumer, and if I had picked this up, because I went from driving a small car to a big car, I don't even know if I would have noticed those alignments or that nervousness and thought, oh, this is something wrong.
You might have been like, this is bigger car things. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm glad that a lot of you guys drove it and told me, no, this is dangerous.
Yeah, it helps to have people try.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we're going to take it on a really quick drive too, just so I can feel it out.
Yeah.
Partially because I want to try out Rhonda.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious what you guys think of, the tint first of all. Wait.
Do you like how dark it is?
Were your badges, didn't one of your badges mismatch?
No, that was somebody else's Rivian.
Okay,
he had the yellow ones on one side and then
that's Drew's. That was Drew's, I think.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yours have always been blacked out, which looks super cool.
If it's blacked out, why is this not blacked out?
I know. That's a thing Colton mentioned, they need levels of blackout package. They need
I want everything
out,
black.
but then they need actual Batman,
not
this all black, which you could do. I bet someone sells that, maybe.
Yeah.
Same with this one, just
I like the yellow on the inside, but I want it black.
Okay, that makes sense. And you have the aero covers taken off.
Yeah, look at these
them
scratches.
I prefer them on, you prefer them off.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
This was the only way actually Kyle sold me on getting these wheels. I fought hard and steady for months. And he was like, oh, you can take them off. So
okay.
I'm not nearly as offended by this. I don't love the scratches though. That's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. I think it looks good. Just like this. And I think it looks better than the aero discs I have on my car. Not really sure those are the move, but I don't know. You said they didn't offend you.
I'm actually not offended by those.
Okay.
Which is
That's
shocking.
the bar, not offended. All right, let's drive. Okay, got the Rivian out, and this is, partially selfishly, my first time just trying out driving this thing. And I love it. I love Rivians. Just how they drive, how they ride. I know what you're talking about with how this maybe felt before. I can picture it because, me and Andreas were in the last race to Vegas together in a Rivian R1S, first gen. And definitely the little bit of porpoising and not feeling totally in love with how it felt on the highway. We're not quite on a highway, but we're still at higher speeds. This is kind of a B road, but 4 lanes. And yeah, I will say it's listing lazily to the right.
Yeah, because it's not aligned.
And we've already given Rivian so much crap for this, but not having lane centering right here, so I can't test that, even though this is a big road. But well, Kyle's Rivian has Comma AI, which now solves that. Yours is not supported by that yet, but maybe eventually. But also maybe, well, Rivian said they're going to be bringing lane centering to like all roads eventually. So you'll eventually have that regardless. It's a race between Comma AI and maybe Rivian. But how this feels in rides is really pretty nice. I'm not hearing any rattles.
No, they've gone away. And actually, I think we might have to look. I think we're in firm. Yeah, so we're in a firm ride feel.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I'm gonna go to soft.
It's very squishy.
I'm just gonna really feel it out.
Okay.
We're keeping ride height on standard and just doing all-purpose mode. I know this is the, notably, you know, you got the performance upgrade, which is awesome.
Full free.
Full free.
$9.99.
Free 99, which is awesome. And yeah, I mean, the way this thing, wow, it really does waft around.
I told you. Okay, so now imagine going on the highway and you go to take it out of that lane center and there's something wrong with the rear.
And it's just a little, yeah.
I mean, I was like whipping into other lanes.
Right.
Very scary.
But I just love how these things drive. And also, so when we were maneuvering it to film earlier, the cameras, so good.
A million times better.
Just after spending so much time with first gen Rivian, like it's fun to see what really, really has been improved. And then even I want to talk about sound system. I've given them a lot of crap. When Colton last had his, well, he had, I forget which one exactly it was, but one of the new gens with their sound systems, upgraded one and everything. It was terrible. But that was months and months and months ago. I know Rivian's done a lot of software refinements. I'm still not convinced the hardware is really up to snuff to be considered a premium audio system. But as of now, with your car, which is equipped with the premium audio system, really sounds pretty good. Like, there are for sure better sound systems out there. Volvo EX90.
That's my favorite one.
Oh my gosh.
I want to buy that just for the sound system. I don't care about the car.
We made so many comments about it. It's just a sound system on wheels, but that kind of is what it is. And I like the wheels too. I like everything about that car. Well, most things about that car, but Rivian software I prefer. A lot of things about Rivian I prefer. I just wish Rivian had that Bowers & Wilkins. And Colton even made the comment in one of his videos. What a perfect partnership that would be, because Bowers & Wilkins has like, they're kind of known for like hints of yellow color inside their speakers.
Oh, that's perfect.
Which is on brand with Rivian. Maybe it's a money thing, I don't know. Rivian decided to do things kind of in-house, which I don't know what components that means they get. Like, I know Tesla has in-house sound system, but they actually have partnership with, I think, Bang & Olufsen for actual componentry.
Okay.
So it doesn't really matter, but like, Tesla sound systems are really good, especially the new like Model Y.
Even in that old Model 3 that I drove this week, I was like, this is still so much better.
Kyle's old Model 3. I mean,
love that thing.
They've really done excellent sound systems. Rivian will get there, I'm sure. I can't wait to see what R2 is like. But your R1S feels like a really pretty good sound system now. Totally passable. If people want to see just how I have the EQ set, that's really pretty optimized for most stuff. This could be maybe on or off. I mean, it's not a big deal with a 3D surround, which is nice. Some cars, that's like just a terrible gimmick. Whereas this one, it's kind of subtle.
I actually don't know. How did you know like what to go up and down on?
It's really just sound. So the issue with the Rivian sound system was that it was kind of muffled. And so you can improve muffling with boosting some of the highs if the componentry can handle that. And these speakers, actually, their high fidelity is pretty decent. It was just like a little muffled from the factory. So boosting the highs help with that. Lowering the mids just a little bit, but I'm not doing a smile curve. That's what a lot of people do, like kind of draw a smile with this thing, because people like bass. Like Kyle would just do this.
I don't like bass like that.
and the issue with the bass in the Rivian is it's just not super tight.
Okay.
So it's not like a really accurate bass. It's still there, so you still have that presence, but just lowering the bass a bit. I've done this with a lot of old Bose systems as well. When the bass is just too overpowering, you're like, this is dumb. Just lowering that. So it's not a smile curve, it's just a gradual kind of slope, tweaking slightly. And I could probably tweak it a little bit more. I just love that they have a, 9-band EQ, whereas my issue with like most Teslas is having only like 5-band when I could dial in a bit more. And again, I'm a picky audio person, as you can tell, but I have a certain amount of songs that I test every car with, and I just dial it into what is kind of my liking, but everyone is a little subjective.
Yeah.
So Kyle, for example, would just full bass and just
I can hear that something's wrong, but I did not know like what to change, and when you did that, it made all the difference.
Yeah, so I still need to play around with Dolby Atmos and stuff. So at some point, maybe I'll do like a future bits episode with just totally sound system nerd level stuff with your car and doing like the sound, like Dolby Atmos versus Apple Music versus Spotify, and like Tidal and radio capabilities and different seats and how they sound. Like, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like nerding out about this stuff, but just wanted to comment on how this thing drives, how it feels, doing some lower / medium speed. We're not doing crazy highway speed stuff, but it really does feel pretty composed and rides really nice. Definitely rides a lot better than the earlier R1Ss. And even when I go to firm, I'd probably live in firm or moderate, which I do live in firm, which I never used to do that, because firm used to be terrible.
Yeah.
And I think this is a lot better, especially if you keep standard ride height. If you do lower ride height in firm, it's
pretty gnarly on these back mountain roads.
Pretty gnarly. So, yeah, I guess we'll go back, wrap up our final thoughts, but I feel like your car was already fine, like you said. But I think people gave us a lot of, well, we gave it a bad rap because, well, this thing should be dialed as a $100,000 vehicle.
Straight from the factory.
I know we got a good lease deal, but like it still have to be reviewed as a $105,000-ish vehicle straight from the factory. It should be perfect. And even with Rivian knowing who was going to get it, realizing they didn't quite get everything right, it feels like a lot more things are right. So we'll go give our final thoughts, but thanks for letting me drive around it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
Scott, love your car.
Thank you.
It's great, and it's sorted now. I didn't really get to experience it pre-repairs, pre-service.
You're lucky.
But I'm glad it works now. I'm glad it's fine. You still loved it even when you picked it up. Clearly from that factory video and stuff, you guys.
Oh my God, I was like glowing.
Yeah.
I'm still, every time I drive it, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a cool car. And I also want to point out, you live with level 1 charging at the moment.
Yes.
How is that? Because I just did a video on it with my Model 3, but here's the thing. My Model 3 uses like less than a third of the energy yours does.
Yep.
So each minute of level 1 charging does more.
In an hour, how much charge do you get percentage-wise?
Maybe like 3%.
I get 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good comparison. Okay, so your question is, how is it living with level 1 charging?
Yeah.
I think I'm an interesting use case because, as you know, I go to my barn every day. That's where I'm headed after this.
Far away.
It is far. I'm driving 80 miles round trip. Now, I live in the mountains.
Okay.
And I go downhill on the way there, which is not bad.
That helps.
I burn a lot on my way up. So I swap between these two cars every other day.
Oh,
so I tend to not drive this one. I'm trying to keep miles off of it.
Right, because it is a lease.
It is a lease. I will probably buy it out. But
okay.
Yeah, so as long as I don't need it like 3 days in a row, maybe it's fine. If I need it 3 days in a row, I have to go public charging.
Public charge, yep. Which is fine. We live in a place where there is public charging, which is kind of nice. And
there's 2 here in my little mountain town.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, glad everything's fixed. Like I said, I'm loving how this thing's turned out.
Thank you.
I'm loving the blacked out nature of it. I think that's sick.
I love it.
And yeah, let us know if you guys have any questions about this service experience. We may have left things out because there's a lot of things that were mentioned in the slew of prior videos with Colton and Kyle and Alyssa and everyone getting their hands on it. So it seems like it was really a pretty good experience overall though.
Yeah.
So thanks to Rivian for getting this whole thing sorted. Like you said, I mean, I guess they kind of know of us and wanted to try to make things right.
But I think they would do it for the average consumer as well. And I want to put that in there. They have been awesome to work with.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a comment we've gotten is like people are like, well, aren't you getting special treatment? But like I also know a lot of other people who have had great Rivian service experiences and ownership experiences, and some who haven't. It's a mixed bag. There's always lemons.
But I will say the guys at the service center did not know who I was associated with.
Right.
I make that pretty clear. I like to be incognito.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
So, congrats.
Thank you. Sorted.
We'll, of course, keep you guys updated as Scott has this thing. Of course, 6-month, year-long updates.
Up next is my towing. I'm doing it on Sunday, my first towing,
Okay. So, towing experiences.
With horses, uphill.
Uphill. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
This is the stuff we love.
Yes.
So, if you have specific content requests, I promised a sound system thing. She promised towing. Let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.